How do you decoy pigeons when you don't have any decoys? Geoff Garrod demonstrates an old trick.
Quite got a pattern yet, so we've got to wait for the first 1 or 2 birds to come in, and then we can start building up a pattern.
Game Meat Hub, the first of a series of national carcass drop-off points, is going up in Newbury. We go behind the scenes to see how it'll work for the UK's deer stalkers and game shoots.
We want the hunter to be able to make money. You know, it's criminal from my point of view what the hunter gets paid per kilo for a deer.
Accuracy boy Reece Chart is back at Terry Doe's Airgun Academy. Robin Shedden of Cluny Country talks through what he describes as Zeiss's hybrid scopes. David reveals the first of the UK political party manifesto plans for the countryside on the Fieldsports channel News Stump. And James brings you the latest YouTube hunting films in this week's Hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Pigeon shooting can be hard enough at this time of year without added problems like not having any decoys. Essex gamekeeper Geoff Garrod isn't going to let a little thing like that stop him. He has been watching this field for days and he's hopeful he can make it work building a pattern from scratch.
I hadn't got any real ones in the freezer or in the chiller, and schoolboy error, I suppose. I forgot the other ones, the plastic ones. We're on the edge of a rape crop. Pigeons have been nibbling at it, you know, and it's not quite got ready. The rest of the field has sort of come up all in pods, but this little bit's been held back by a few pigeons. We're on the edge of a game strip, which has given me perfect sort of like area that I can actually shoot and hopefully pick up most of what I shoot. The wind is coming over my right shoulder at a little bit of an angle. So hopefully anything that's going to play ball today will be coming straight from, as I look out there, from left across to the right hand side of the decoy pattern. Well, we haven't got a pattern yet.
I was going to say, what decoys?
Yeah, we haven't quite got a pattern yet, so we've got to wait for the first 1 or 2 birds to come in, and then we can start building up a pattern. But I've been watching this field now for 2 or 3 days. There's a set of wires that run behind us. It's a bit like a city tree, if you like. If they're not sure of what landed on the ground, most of them just go and sit up in the wires. So hopefully we can just pop a few off before they get there and then start to build a pattern up. But when we got here, you know, there's a nice lot of birds here sitting on the cover on the edge of the rape. Some of them were actually sitting on top of the rape. I think it might be that time of year now where they might actually be sort of like pecking at the old pods or breaking the pods off. But we'll give it a go. It's just gone 1 o'clock now, so we'll give it a go and see what the afternoon brings.
And we're off. With the first pigeon on the ground, Geoff can start to build his decoy pattern.
Yeah, we're just building up a pattern now. It's a nice flight of pigeons, but it's sort of like a very wide line. It's probably 100 metres either side of us. Anything that's coming sort of like towards us now is showing sort of good signs that it wants to come in. So again, that's sort of fingers crossed that we might have a reasonable afternoon. Brown and Max's 2, 30-inch barrel on it, shooting 3/4 choke, and sort of stoked up with trusty Eley Pigeon Select 30 gram fibre wad 6-shot. So in the past they've been a very good combination, and as long as I put it in the right place, I can't see that being a problem today. Well, I put a flapper up. and I very quickly took it down, because before I put the flapper up, you know, they were coming over the hedge, sort of seeing the decoys and eventually making a big effort to come in, and then I just put a flapper up to sort of try and encourage it, and it seemed to have the opposite effect, so I've just took it back down and we've just got normal pattern out there now.
Like a lot of pigeon shooters, Geoff reckons the birds have been harder to decoy this year.
We had a good day to start with. The first day after shoot season, we had a good day. They decoyed lovely, but then not just me on here, other people on here have just found them as the season's gone on. They've just been harder to decoy. Not sure why. They sort of come to your pattern, but don't want to commit to it. They're just sort of like skirting the outside of it. Today, you see a nice lot of pigeons get off the field when we got here. We've had pigeons that just go straight past us. You think they're got to come in, they just go straight past us. Then the next one will sort of slide in, you know, so it's no rhyme or reason to it really, but it just seems that it's been a little bit harder this year to decoy pigeons than what it has. Even on the spring corn this year, it's just been, you know, they were just, it just felt they were wary all the time. I wasn't expecting a big day, but I think we finished up with 41, I think. We got there was a nice lot of pigeons got off the field, but they are feeding on the rape. We've got 1,000 acres of rape. It doesn't take them too long to work out what's going on, and you could see them dropping elsewhere. But, you know, we just had a steady flow of pigeons all afternoon. Some decoyed in really nice, some didn't, some just went straight by us. You know, that's just what it is at the moment. But like I say, I've been in the hides this afternoon and, you know, killed a few pigeons and I've enjoyed it.
For more on Eley cartridges, go to eleyhawklimited.com, and for Browning shotguns, see browning.eu. Thanks, Geoff. Now, in this week's Fieldsports Extra, we have a hearing protection specialist, a Danish wolf, and a man who has just won a shotgun.
Completely shocked.
And that hearing guy, Keith Foote from SWATCOM, is back to introduce the prizes we're giving away.
We've built on our range of electronic in-ear products, passive and active, and now we've gone into more passive products. Some people do not want to hear anything when they're shooting, so this will block out more sound. We have three products. We have a slimmer one, which is 31 dB. This one is 34 dB, and then the bigger one, which is 37 dB. They range from 28 to 48 pounds. And the range bag, 75 pounds. So here we've got a combination which is about 110 pounds.
Easiest way to win those SWATCOM prizes is to watch Fieldsports Extra, which goes out the night before this show, only to Fieldsports members, now with insurance. Easiest way to watch Fieldsports Extra is to join those members, link to that below. And remember, you can give Fieldsports membership as a gift, especially with Father's Day coming up, especially with the Home Office forcing police to be so uppity about certificates. Maybe we need a change of government. Nah. Next up, apply your existing hearing protection. It's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Rishi Sunak has presented the Conservative manifesto for the general election in July. The Tories say there will be no changes to the existing Hunting Act, in contrast to the Labour Party, which reveals its manifesto will ban trail hunting. The Conservative Party says it will make public bodies such as Natural England and the Environment Agency more accountable to people they serve in rural locations. There are other pledges relating to creating a new national park and reducing red tape to encourage people to plant more trees. Liberal Democrats leader Ed Davey includes a ban on moorland heather burning in his manifesto and support for a new Animal Welfare Act. Basque's Christopher Graffius says the parties could have gone further.
With regard to shooting and conservation, you're going to have to comb through the manifestos to find anything relevant to it, those that have been published already. And it's a bit like looking for needles in haystacks.
Meanwhile, Labour's manifesto will be announced later this week. as well as introducing legislation relating to stopping all trail hunting, is expected to ban the use of snares for vermin control and the import of hunting trophies. The Countryside Alliance says it is utterly bizarre the party is seeking to ban the practice that it advocated after it restricted fox hunting. Christopher Graffius hopes that Labour remains true to its previous positive statements about shooting sports.
The thing that gives me a great deal of confidence is that Steve Reed, the Shadow Secretary of State for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, gave a public statement at the last Labour conference that Labour supported sustainable shooting conducted according to the law. So we have a clear assurance that there are going to be no moves to ban shooting. But the devil is always in the detail.
Surrey Police has released video of 2 officers arresting 2 poachers who were caught stealing game birds. Thermal footage filmed by the National Police Air Service helicopter shows 2 men walking through a woodland at Titsy Hill near Guildford on Christmas Day. The men were arrested as they emerged onto a road carrying an air rifle and scope, plus a bag of pheasants. Anas Azizi, aged 21, from Brighton, and 41-year-old Sirwan Sally from Derby both pleaded guilty to night poaching and were ordered to pay compensation by a judge at Guildford Crown Court. The UK government has further lifted restrictions on the movement of game birds by modifying the GL45 licence. The licence is aimed at preventing released birds spreading bird flu. New DEFRA legislation says the risk of avian flu has now dropped from medium to low in the wild bird population. Game birds, including pheasants and red-legged partridges, can now be released without an individual licence in 85 specifically protected areas. You can read the conditions in full by clicking on the link below. Organisers of the Real Springwatch say that a pair of nesting curlew has opened the eyes of the public into the work carried out to maintain a managed grouse moor. The live video feed from cameras stationed on a managed grouse moor in the southern Pennines is now 4 weeks into its run and has thousands of social media hits. Richard Bailey from the Peak District Moorland Group says the best bits so far have allowed viewers to experience the surprising reality of wildlife on their doorstep. It's also a blessedly Chris Packham-free exploration of what happens to animals during the spring and early summer.
You can see a really photogenic pair of curlew changing, when they're incubating on their eggs. But importantly, you can hear all the other wildlife. I think it was 2 nights ago, you could hear oystercatcher, you could hear lapwing, you can hear snipe and the curlew. And this is areas that some people from within Sheffield say there's nothing up there but grouse. It's just crazy. So it's really important to show that.
A herd of elephants relocated by an African charity headed up by Prince Harry have killed a 31-year-old mother and injured her daughter. The Duke of Sussex is president of African Parks, one of 2 wildlife organisations involved in a project to relocate elephants from an overcrowded reservation to a park in Malawi in 2022. The animals have now trampled through an African village, killing Masia Banda and leaving her daughter injured. The Daily Mail reports her father, Ngoma, saying the dangerous animals had killed his daughter and quoted him asking how the grandson of Queen Elizabeth could have allowed this to happen. Prince Harry isn't directly linked to the relocation operation. In a statement, I4, the other charity involved in the relocation programme, says work is underway to reduce the numbers of conflicts between elephants and local villagers. South Africa's wildlife is better off on managed land because that's where it's valued. That's the view of Wildlife Ranching South Africa, a voluntary game organisation set up to represent breeding and conservation initiatives in the country. Its CEO, Richard York, explains the ethos of the organisation.
This rock is valueless, it's just a pebble. But if this rock was a diamond, how many of you would look after it? And that's the narrative that very few people understand. As soon as you give wildlife a value, people will look after it. If it's valueless, I'm not going to look after it.
New Zealand's hunters have issued a complaint against a conservation group. The New Zealand Deer Stalkers Association has asked the Advertising Standards Authority to look into claims made by conservation group Forest and Bird in a web appeal for funding and donations. The group said in promotional material it is New Zealand's leading independent conservation organisation. NZDA says its own conservation work numbers over 46,000 hours a year. It has asked the ASA to investigate whether the claim by Forest and Bird can be substantiated. A black bear has killed and partially eaten a woman in California. Police in Central California says that a bear probably killed Patrice Miller, aged 71, at her home in the Tahoe forest. The animal then stayed in the house and fed on her remains for several days. The Sierra County coroner was told this is the first documented case of a bear killing a human in California. The animal was euthanized after it was trapped when it returned to the house several days later. It's the latest interaction between bears and humans, with California's Department of Fish and Wildlife reporting numerous cases of bears breaking into homes in the Lake Tahoe area. They include the case of Hank the Tank, actually a female bear who was teaching her cubs to steal and eat human food. The cubs were relocated back into the wild last month, while Hank remains in an animal sanctuary. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. And I had to ask David not to make such a scene every week about you liking and subscribing under our films. It would help calm him down if you could do that. Thank you. Now, David has been extra busy this week. He has been off to visit a new hub, the first of many around the UK, which aim to take nearly unlimited numbers of shot pheasants, grouse and other game birds and wildfowl and, of course, venison. Is this the moment game meat goes mass market? Will KFC become KFP? Well, that's the belief of the people involved with this soon-to-be online impressive game processing unit just off junction 13 of the M4.
You seem buzzed by this.
I am, I'll tell you. It's a dream come true for me. I'm the luckiest man in the world. You know, I've always wanted to do something like this, but well, got too old too quick, I think.
The Oaklands Parks project is headed up by recreational stalker John Prince, and he wants your game.
This is for hunters. The biggest problem that we've all found as stalkers is being able to take the deer. You know, you've got 10 deer in your chiller and nowhere for them to go.
Now, the big fear, I know, that when we put this out, people are going to go, oh my God, it's going to, you know, the deer prices are tiny as it is, it's going to drive it further into the ground. Is that true?
No, not at all. So we want the hunter to be able to make money. You know, it's criminal from my point of view what the hunter gets paid per kilo for a deer. It's top quality meat, sustainable meat. So from my point of view, I think it will push other game dealers in the UK to push their pricing up. The hunter gets more money and gets a choice of where to take it.
His hope is that this is the first of a number of game hubs sited across the country, where anyone from rough shooters, deer stalkers, airgun hunters up to big shoots can take what they've shot and get a fair price for it.
Big build, big push, ready for the game season on August the 1st.
So this is birds and it's venison as well?
Yep, so birds and feather, and then venison will be local and exported to Belgium and France.
So these are axis, and hog deer are axis porcinas.
We became aware of this project through Mike Allison from Hampshire-based deer management company Shedden. David was after some shots of Japanese seeker deer for a new series we're doing with Neil Rowntree, and Mike said he could oblige. Park deer will also be part of the supply chain, which is where Mike's expertise comes in.
I think it's a fantastic opportunity to really get venison out there as a quality, healthy, clean, green meat. And you know, they've got some fantastic plans going, and I'm very proud to be part of it. I think the future is, it's not orange, it's very bright. The future is Japanese, that's what it is.
Someone else who knows one end of a deer from another is Alan Hayward, previously of Berkshire-based game dealer Vickers Game. He is confident there's a big opportunity for the Oakland Parks project.
I do, I really do. Too many people handle game, really, to make it profitable. By the time it gets into the supermarkets, it's a hell of a price. It's gone through so many different people. We are starting at the beginning, you know, and then we're going to supply straight into the catering organisations and places like Smithfield, and they then get it straight into the retail butcher and the caterer. That's where we want to be.
Because this business is all about game meat, there are a few specific design considerations for a building such as this. The rail system is really important, as is having the right refrigeration system.
It's very important that the evaporator, the bit that gets cold, doesn't blow on the actual carcass. It blows over the carcass from above. That way you get good heat transfer and you maintain the quality of the venison. These are what they call condensing units for the freezers. They're big.
Do you enjoy game? Do you eat game?
Yeah, I'm a deer stalker.
What's your favourite?
Muntjac.
Same as Alan. Alan's done muntjac.
Every day. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, to shoot and to eat. Yeah, yeah. They're canny. They're clever. They're very, very interested in the deer stalk.
And on the left here...
The site will be fully operational from the 1st of August 2024, and there is an open day on Saturday the 20th of July. Link to that below. It's for anyone interested in having a butcher's. Thanks all who took part in that. Now we have a viewer offer for you. Cambridgeshire gun shop Simpson Brothers has a hot kilo clothing sale. Have a look at it on their website and see if anything takes your fancy. Again, Father's Day is around the corner. If you're a dad, you deserve it. If you're not, they deserve it. Use the code FSP30, all uppercase, at checkout for a 30% discount across the whole hot kilo range. Link to that below. Next, it's on with the mortarboard and out with the air rifle. Terry Doe teaches Reece Chart.
You join us once again at Bisley. This is me and this is Reece, my junior protege. Reece has done staggeringly well since we introduced him to air gunning. And now I think we're going to take the quantum leap or the quantum squat to the sitting position, because Reece can build his whole new shooting career on shooting from the sitting position. So Reece, it's going to get difficult now. And this is a hard yards now, okay?
All right.
So sit yourself down on that beanbag. Get yourself comfortable. How would you sit on a beam? Like that. Well, you're halfway there. You're halfway there, because what we want to do is put a rifle in there for you. And if you see how steady and lovely that is, all we have to do now is adapt that to a shooting position. So here's how we're going to do it.
Okay.
That goes into your shoulder, not right into your shoulder, but the join of your arm and shoulder. You're already reaching for the grip. Don't touch the trigger, just the grip. Now put that hand steady on that knee. Okay, walk the position round a little bit. So walk it round, that's it. Move both your feet, move that to there so that it's nice and square on the ground. Now
I've got cobweb.
Tell me
Cobweb nose.
when you can see that little black target that we started on all those shots ago.
No.
You can see it? Right, I'm going to get the pellets and we're going to knock it over.
All right, you guys.
So, cock your rifle.
I don't think I...
That's it, all the way back, all the way. There you go. That's all right. I'm not as good at loading as you are. Hold on, put that. It's always best if they're the right way round. Close the breech. Now, keep your finger off the trigger until you see the centre of that target. Remember all the stuff we learned. Now, move this nice and square and nice and supportive. That's it. Very awkward to start with, isn't it?
It's so uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable, I know, but you will get used to it. Get ready, put it on that yellow disc and squeeze the trigger. Right, while you were being uncomfortable, you didn't do the trigger technique we learned.
Oh, I tried to.
I know, but your mind's on getting comfortable because it's such an awkward position to start with. But if you keep it supported, don't let this leg collapse, get it nice and square, lift this leg up.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah. So, get ready. We're going to go one more time. And I know, these are the hard yards, Reece. These are the hard yards, mate.
Is it that?
Yeah, I know. Ready? That's better. That's better. Get it? That's looking more stable now. We'll have one more shot and then we'll give you a rest. And there it goes. So we're going to have a rest now. That's good, isn't it? Up we get. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Believe it or not, in a very short time, that position will be so easy. And it'll be even easier because we're going to get you a coat for the next one. We'll get you a nice padded coat, and we're going to get your mum to make a little pad to put around your knee. So when you rest this...
Oh, yeah, that'll be a lot better.
That'll be an awful lot better, because you're a bit of a whiz with the old needle and thread, isn't she, your mum? She's very good at all that sort of stuff. So what we got here with this young man, he's already grasped the fundamentals. He's got the safety thing down, he's got the trigger technique down, he's got a natural sort of follow through behind the scope. We've altered his head position. We've done so much in 4 short lessons. But most importantly, for Reece's sort of rehabilitation from his ARFID, is he's going to carry on doing it at home. His dad's going to supervise him. He's going to be shooting at home, getting better with every single lesson. And we'll be coming back here, and if Reece has done his homework properly, we'll be getting him a hardware upgrade with a slightly posher rifle.
Ooh.
So you've got that.
Like homework.
You've got that. You'd like this homework. You've got that to look forward to. You up for it, Reece?
Sure.
You're up for it? Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, no problem. Cheers.
Thanks, Terry and Reece. Now from airguns to scopes, and Robin Shedden from Cluny's looks at a Zeiss scope that's as happy on the hill as it is on the range.
Okay, Robin, what have we got here then?
These are Zeiss's new LRP scopes, hybrid between target scopes and hunting. Very capable for long range, and they can be used for hunting 100 or 200 as well. They do parallax down to 10 yards for the airgun guys, but for the shooting guys that's not particularly relevant. Target guys, 34mm tube, so you have a huge elevation range that you can use when you're using these scopes. It's a progression from the V6 out and out hunting scopes. The LRP S3s are the optical equivalent of the V6s. The LRP S5s are the V8s. Absolute top of the tree optically. Target turrets, huge amount of variation on them. First focal plane on these scopes, unlike the V6s and the V8s, which are second focal plane. So if you want first focal plane, you've got to be on these. They do both jobs. If you're wanting something that you can take on the target range and use on the target range, and also go out and shoot your stag at 100 or 150 or 200, then these are the scopes for you. The turrets are repeatable, they're very, very good turrets. They all lock, they're all illuminated, red or green, that's up to you. The cheaper S3s and the V6s are good, very good working scope that will do both jobs. Hybrid scopes are the right way to describe them. You can use them for either. Less expensive on the S3s, better light transmission, but these are still 90% light transmission. It's phenomenal. 34mm tubes, so if you've got 30mm rings, you have to change your rings. There's no way around that. But you need the 34mm tube to give you the range of movement for elevation.
For those that don't understand second focal plane, first focal plane, are you feeling strong enough to be able to explain that?
Very, very simple. First focal plane, the reticule moves as you alter the magnification. The S3 scopes, it goes from 5 times to 36. As you move, the outside lines move with it. Second focal plane, the reticule is set in the second focal plane inside the tube. It does not move, irrespective. The reticule never changes shape, size or appearance in second focal plane. In first focal plane, the reticule changes its size as you alter the magnification. As you screw up the magnification so the bars move apart, as you screw back down so they move together. It's the older way of doing it, but also target shooters, some guys like that. Nowadays most stuff is second focal plane, but in the last couple of years there's been a definite move back to first focal plane. So, I know, that sounds crazy, sorry, that does sound crazy, but it's there. It's personal preference.
Thank you, Robin. Next up, from glass to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, brought to you by James Marchington, it's Hunting YouTube.
This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the latest and best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Here's what I picked for you this week. First up, here's an action-packed fox drive with a 12-bore in Australia. A few deer flush first, then come the foxes, all filmed on shotcam in super slow motion. Back in the UK, Robin Foxer thought he was getting on top of the foxes, only to discover not 1 but 4 litters of cubs on his patch. He gets stuck in with his Dicker T3 Super Varmint in 223. David from Predator Protection UK has been a busy fellow too. He catches up with a fox he missed the other day, then shoots another that's planning to take a Chinese water deer fawn. If you've been following Dan Thor's progress in Terry Doe's Airgun Academy, you can see him put his newfound skills to good use on squirrels in this latest video from Jack Pike. He rounds off a successful afternoon with a bit of roost shooting with the shotgun. Scottish Outdoor Life sets out for a roe deer with young Roan and bumps into some marauding reds in the farmer's barley. Roan keeps his cool and puts 3 on the deck. Tom and Ben from Controlled Recoil in New Zealand are after feral goats. Ben is shooting his 6.5 PRC, while Tom makes things hard for himself with bow and arrow. Here's something a bit different from Johnny at TGS Outdoors. He takes an old hammer gun that's only good for scrap and turns it into a lovely hunting knife, incorporating some of the gun's features in the handle. And finally, another stunning documentary film from Blood Origins. This one looks at a rural corner of Zimbabwe and shows how sustainable wildlife use can transform the lives of local people. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the eye symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you'd like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, jamesm@fieldsportschannel.tv.
And that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. You can click like us there on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, pop your email address into our register page, and we'll contact you about this show. Fieldsports Britain, it's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.